Yin Yoga and Meditation. My name is Allie, and it is, as always, a pleasure to be serving you in this way. So to get started, Yin is a static stretching practice. So if you're new to the Yin practice, we pretty much roll around on the floor with our eyes closed, and we work on deepening stretch for the connective tissue, as opposed to creating a lot of heat dynamically with the muscle and then stretching it out. If you can get 2 blocks or books, we have the eggs. And then you can also, if you have yoga blocks, use these. You want to make sure that whatever you use is firm and not flimsy. Yeah? Now, for today's practice, we're going to be working on the mat sideways. And if you've practiced with me before, for today's practice, we won't be doing digital balancing because it doesn't render very well in a video format. So we'll only be doing one side, and I don't want you to think that I forgot. Yeah? And so to start, what I would like you to do is set up your station on the left side of your mat. So you can have your blocks like so. This is going to be for a child's pose. So if you don't have the props, you're going to be A-okay, right? And so your setup is going to look a little bit something like this. Today we'll be working on the stomach and spleen meridian, which runs from the very upper outer point of the big toe, all the way up the inside of the leg, that's the spleen. And then the stomach drops down on the other side, starting at the eye underneath, right? So to get started, we'll do a meditation, and I'd like to show you some of the mudras that we'll be doing today. So the most important mudra we'll be doing today is Shani Mudra. So you'll take your middle finger and just place your thumb on top, like so. We'll be doing Anjali Mudra, which is a gesture of offering, and then we'll be doing a mudra with our toes. We'll go ahead and get started by pulling the weight back and bringing both feet forward, soles of the feet touching. Now, if you can, you're going to start crossing and knotting your toes between one another, right? And so your toes are going to end up being kind of sandwiched in between. And then you can rub the inner upper arch of your foot. So the spleen will go up through the inside of the leg. So go ahead and get started. Take a little bit of time to cross your toes. This will create a little stimulation to the end point of the stomach and the starting point of your spleen. Now, why am I choosing spleen and stomach today? The spleen and the stomach are where you take in food, and then the spleen holds all of your residual iron and blood supply. So whenever there's an emergency, you kind of have your stash, right? And a lot of us have stashes in our pantries right now. It's where we keep reserve in the case of an emergency. And so the stomach and spleen are typically represented by earth energy. And they tend to be when we have concerns about scarcity and whether we're going to have enough to meet our needs. And so I thought, given this current time, it would be very beneficial to focus on exploring those feelings and emotions and then processing them with the power of the breath and the power of the practice. If at any time during the practice you just want to lay into your supported child's pose, just know that you're welcome to do so, right? So find your Shani Mudra. Hopefully your toes are braided now. Turn your palms up and just take a moment to close your eyes. As you close your eyes, begin to draw the breath very slowly and steadily through the nose, filling up and expanding out the lungs. Exhale, releasing out through the nose, just as slowly as you brought in the inhale. Simple Soham Pranayama. You can gently squeeze the toes together. Give yourself permission to slowly sink into a deeper, more relaxed style of breathing. Our nervous system doesn't always get us to this beautiful, equally balanced breath. We kind of have to work for it. And that's okay, because so much of today's practice is about building a solid foundation, cultivating discipline, and working with restrictions. As you begin to connect with your breath, just take the gaze inward. So imagine that your eyes, with your eyelids closed, can kind of roll back and look inward. And if you want to, you can drop down towards the area of the solar plexus, just below the sternum, area of the stomach, and just to the left, the spleen. There's phago and macro sites that are being generated in the spleen to help boost and empower your immunity as well. Beginning to set an intention for your practice today. Cherishing the value of your time, devoting time to your healing and well-being. And the healing, well-being of your family, expanding out to your friends, onward to your neighbors, your local community, in your state, nation, continent, and the rest of the world. Setting an intention for safety, wellness, and happiness for all beings without exclusion. And imagine if enough of us take the time to devote ourselves to that intention, how powerful that can be to actually fulfilling the intention that we're setting. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up, release Shani Mudra. Large circle sweep of the arms, and then hands gather to heart center. Taking a few more breaths. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, go ahead and release your toes. You can wiggle your toes around a little bit. And we'll go ahead and come forward. And again, like I said, we're going to be sideways on our mat. So you won't be facing forward. You'll be on the transversal or the long side. Go ahead and find yourself into a squat, knowing that as you come into your squat, you're totally welcome to sit on a block, right? And then move around a little bit. It's okay to put a little heat into your toes, stimulate your arch. It's good for your kidneys. And then if you want to come back to Shani Mudra, we can do Shani Mudra and Namaskara variation. And we'll sit in the squat. And as we do this, you'll pull the weight back towards your heels to the best of your ability. Don't worry about pulling up Mula or engaging Uddiyana. You actually want everything to kind of drop down heavy towards the floor. We'll do a gentle Kapalabhati pranayama, creating a little bit of heat in the body. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate it if you're not familiar with Kapalabhati. And then once you see me do it, you can close your eyes and join me. All right, I'll take a slow, steady inhale. And begin. And we'll do that for about 16 counts. So as you're ready, inhale. No exhale, begin. Come back to regular breathing again. See if you can sink a little bit deeper into the connective tissue that kind of supports the bowl of the pelvic floor. Everything is dropping down towards the earth. Find that same grounding sensation as you sit in the squat. You can feel the stimulation or a little bit of heat moving up the lower front part of your shin. Fingertips begin to point down. Inhale, circle sweep your arms and stand up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Next set of pranayama is to move more air through the body, and we will do this a total of 4 times. I'll demonstrate once, and then you'll join me for 4. 4 times. Hold it low. And then go ahead and plant your hands, parallel your feet, and come into our first official pose of the practice, lazy bowl. It's also called the Nandi. You can tuck your chin, feel the traction in the back, and then make sure that you're not pushing the sits bones past your knees, but that you're stacking your hips over your ankles. You may wish to interlace your fingers behind the back of your neck. And even though you can look to the wall behind you, if you can't find Shanti Drishti, all you have to do is close your eyes just to have a little sliver of light cutting through. But your eyes aren't darting around and you're not fixated on the environment around you. Again, you're observing the inner landscape. If you have your extra blocks, it might feel nice on the crown of the head or the forehead. Staying here, you'll weave your right hand on top of your left shin with your thumb pressing to the inside of your tibia bone. Yeah? Left hand will cross over. You might need to toe heel in a little bit and squeeze the other side. You're going to twist slightly to the left, but you'll keep your forward fold Nandi bowl position. Think about breathing into and stretching the back body. And then if you want to palpate with your thumbs, you're welcome to do so. And gently release your arms, a quarter turn to the left. And here we are facing our little supported child's pose position. So you'll anchor your knees down to the floor, taking them wider than the width of your bolster. And from here, you'll just go ahead and bring your hands to the blocks to hold them in place and drop your right ear down to the cushion. Close your eyes. As you're folding over, chin towards left shoulder, your eyes are shut and your knees are wide enough apart where you can feel kind of the weight or the bowl of the belly dropping down between your thighs. I'm mic'd, so I'm not going to lay all the way down, but you are welcome to come all the way down. If you don't have the bolster, that's okay too. You'll just come down a little bit lower. Take the breath completely on the exhale down to the coccyx, the very tail end or tip of your spine. Allow the weight of the chest to rest on the bolster. You're firmly and fully supported. As you relax in, enjoying the restorative properties of this particular asana, see if you can allow the weight of the body to rest a little bit more, knowing that you are secure, that you have everything you need. And just come back to the intention for our practice today. just like when you're in the womb, all your needs are met. All you have to do is chill out. Nature magically does the rest. Feeling the anchor of the shin bones pressing into the mat with each exhale as you sink a little bit deeper. Inhale, bring your head back to center. Forehead will come to the bolster. You'll curl your toes under and press back into a supported downward facing dog. Feeling the back side of the body, creating a little bit of space and coolness. Transition pose. When you're ready, inhale. Draw your left leg up nice and high. And you can move your ankle around. I like to move it around clockwise, counterclockwise, and pointing and flexing. You can roll your hip open and bend your knee if you'd like, trying to get the tip of your left big toe to the outside of your right buttock. And then lengthen, square the hip. You'll step your left foot right to the left side of the bolster and anchor your right knee down on your blanket. Preparing for dragon pose, and one thing that can feel really nice in dragon pose is not only do I have a 90-degree bend with my left knee stacked over my ankle, but I'm going to have my right hip flexor have a little bit of support like so. So you're welcome to start up like this. It's a little bit more gentle, but if you want more intensity, you can stay kind of rooted down on your fingers or flat on your palms. You'll tuck your chin in, breathing into the back of the neck, and close your eyes. For some of you, it'll be very easy to drop onto your forearms. And if you want to set the props aside to go deeper into your left hip and your right hip flexor, of course you're welcome to do so. Left hand is on the inside of the left foot. If you want a little bit of stimulus on your spleen line on the right side, you can curl your toes under. If you want more sensation, Padangusta, peace fingers to the inside of the big toe, left thumb to the outer edge of the big toe, and apply a little bit of pressure. A few more breaths in this position. You can always slide your right leg back a little bit if you're tending to be a little bit more on the splitsy side of things. Sending the breath to those points of sensation, supporting the pelvic floor, back of the leg, tip of the toe. If you're in the Padangustta variation, release your left hand down. Slide your hands back. Press yourself up. Keeping your left leg extended long, you can go ahead and find your secondary set of blocks and come into a seated position. Right? So we'll transition into laying back into a half saddle pose or Ardha Virasana. Some things that I'd like to point out to you. If you have a sensitive knee, in general, I'm going to have you not lay back. You'll stay upright. Otherwise, you can always take a corner of your blanket or a washcloth and put it in the knee crease, just behind the popliteus. That should help. And then you want the right heel to be just to the outside of the hips so you can get adequate internal rotation of your femur bone, right? So we can stay here, yeah? Or if you'd like, you can lay back. Now, just because I'm laying back doesn't mean you have to. You're going to do what's best for you. So what I'd like you to focus on is getting your blocks between your scapula bones, right? And then draw a stretch in this IT band, top of the knee, lengthen the belly. That's the inhale, right? You can walk back on your forearms to start if you don't have the blocks. And if you do, just go ahead and lay back. You can find your Shani Mudra again, bending the middle finger, placing the thumb on top. Now, part of the tattvas of yin is that we hold still for long periods of time. So close your eyes, slightly tuck your chin if you're laying back. If you feel like the jittering or the movement sensation of energy is too intense, then prop yourself back up and stay in that position. So it's more important to work an appropriate edge than to create sensation that becomes a distraction. What does a distraction mean? A distraction means that you can't focus on your breathing. So check in with your breath. Slow, steady inhale and exhale through the nose. It's not uncommon with the mudra or with the toe to start feeling a little bit of shaking or a subtle vibration because we're in the business of moving energy. Begin to release the mudra and wiggle your fingers a little bit. That might feel nice. And then go ahead and plant your hands by your hips. Inhale, lift yourself up off of your blocks. You can set the baby blocks off to the side. You'll shift the weight to the outside of your left hip and draw your right leg long. So as you draw your right leg long, you'll go ahead and scooch forward and then go ahead and set your left leg up on the bolster, like so. Now you're welcome to have your hands out, or if you'd like, you can bend your elbows and just bring your hands to your tummy. Earth energy. So your goal now is to allow the weight of the left leg to become very heavy. Just like in child's pose, our aim was to allow the belly, the chest, the pelvic floor to drop down. can do a quick scan of your body and feel what muscles are contracting that maybe don't need to. So we started this vignette with a very strong flexion in our left hip, very intense. This one's tricky because it's subtle and it's supported. So it's a passive flexion, and you might even feel a little bit of like percolating of energy around your left hip flexor, like the leg wants to do something, and we want to train that hip flexor to relax. So bring your breath to those points of sensation, and with each exhale, challenge yourself to make your left leg heavy like lead. Begin to bend your right knee and slide your right heel in towards your sits bones. Inhale, take your left leg up and cross your left ankle to the outside of your right thigh. We'll chill here for a moment before we grab the back of the leg, coming into a supine pigeon variation or upside down swan, which would be a disaster if the swan were in a lake. I make joke. When you're ready, begin to pull the right thigh in towards the ribs, and then slide your hands to the back of your right thigh and pull the leg in as much as you feel comfortable. Make sure that your chin is slightly tucked in, Jalandhara Bandha, and then the toes are kind of just pointing away from the midline of the body, relaxed. Think of the interlacing of your fingers, kind of the counter pose to the braiding of the toes. The mind still, you're focusing on your breath, channeling your breath to points of sensation, and probably this time on the outside of your left hip. Bringing your awareness to your sacrum, flat backside of your body, back of the head, tapping into the quality of earth, that sense of grounding and security. You'll gently release your fingers and plant your right foot down. Draw your arms out wide to the side. Once again, Shani Mudra. Eagle your legs. Exhale, legs drop over to the right, chin moves over to the left. Gentle spinal twist. Tourniqueting the inside of your thighs. Uncross the left leg and go ahead and extend both legs straight. Soften the fingers, palms facing up. Variation legs up the wall pose, Vipariti Karani. Move your ankles and wrists around a little bit if that feels good. And then try to be still with your toes kind of brushing towards the ceiling. Slowly begin to draw the ankles apart. Plant the hands by your hips and inhale, rock up. Bolster should be between your legs. And then place your left hand over your right. Tuck your chin, forehead down on the top of the palm. Inhale, begin to press yourself up. And release your arms out to the side and just pause for a moment. Connect with sensation. Slide your hands back behind you. Draw the thighs in towards the ribs, and you'll turn back to the center of your mat. So you're facing forward again. Go ahead and take your perch because we've got to do the other side. So just get it set up and ready to go. And you can just start with your left ankle over your right for now. You can take Anjali Mudra, Shani Namaskara Mudra, or just Shani, palms up, your choice. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up. And exhale, arms down to your sides, roll your shoulders a few times. All right, and then we'll switch. So go ahead and bring your feet back in front of you, roll the flesh of the sits bones back. And then go ahead and thread, and maybe try switching it up. So the opposite foot is the first toe. It's always more challenging on one side, but we want to get the stimulation. There's so many meridian lines that start and end in the toes. And then the spine is played out in the metaphor of the shape of the arch of the foot, right? So your head is your big toe, the big toe mound is your thoracic, lumbar spine is your arch, sacrum is your heel, coccyx is the back. All right, so once you have everything in, go ahead and take your palms up, close your eyes, come back to Soham Pranayama breath. And hopefully now it feels a little bit easier because the nervous system has had a chance to chill out. Checking in. Health and happiness, security for you, your family, your neighbors, community, your state, your country, your continent, the world. May everyone be safe, happy, and healthy. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up, undo your toes, and then let's rock forward, finding ourselves in our squat. Sinking low into the squat position. Maybe kind of worm it out a little bit. Find a slightly deeper place. Again, middle fingers connected, remaining forefingers up. I like to walk the outer part of my upper arm to the inside of my thigh. It allows me to kind of open up a little bit deeper and shift the weight back. Your eyes will be closed. We'll begin 4 rounds of 4 count, gentle Kapalabhati. Inhale. Begin. Come back to regular breathing and inhale. Bring yourself up and arms down to your sides. We'll do 4 rounds of the breathing we did before. So inhale. Deep squat. And one last time. Hands come down, parallel your feet, Nandi Bull. If you want to shoulder rinse behind you for a moment, you can interlace your fingers, drag your knuckles off your low back and over your head. Pull the weight forward a little bit more than maybe you think you should. Chin tucked in, allow the length of the back of the neck to stretch, so take advantage of the traction that gravity is affording you. If you're shoulder rinsing, go ahead and bring the arms back up and over. Separate your hands. This time the left arm will thread under to the outside of your right calf. Maybe toe heel in, right arm over. Again, thumbs to the inseam on the spleen meridian. Arms are crossed. You'll gently twist the upper body, subtly to the right, chin tucked in. Breathe into the rhomboids, or the space between your scapula bones. Feel free to toe heel out a little bit wider if that provides you with a better stretch. gently release your hands, lift up. You'll turn to the right, and you'll have your right leg forward. And go ahead and do a wide straddle on your bolster. This time taking your left ear to the bolster and gazing over your right shoulder. And just imagine that you're going to try to travel right to the cusp of sleep. That's the level of relaxation we want to get to. In Nidra, we would call it the hypnagogic state, but for here, we're going to just imagine it's kindergarten and we're in nappy time. Eyes are closed. Chin pointing down to the right shoulder. Lengthening of the low back as you exhale. Inhale, lift your chin, take your head back to center, walk your hands back and press into your downward facing dog with your forehead resting on the bolster. Pressing away with the base of the palm. Slight expansion or spreading of the fingers, but nothing too exaggerated. Don't worry about pulling the belly in, your chin slightly tucked in. It's more important that you feel the earth connection, the weightiness or the apanavayu, that energy that kind of drops you down. Right leg comes up, inhale. And roll your ankle around a few times. You can take your hip open and bend your knee. Bend your knee a lot, point the toe down, contracting your buttock. Lengthen long, square your hip, and you'll walk your right foot to the outside of your right hand, transitioning into your dragon pose. All right, so once again, stacking the knee directly over the ankle. And you can walk your hands down and then maybe get the left hip flexor to the base of the pillow and tuck your chin. Eyes are closed. Bring your awareness inward. So an interesting inquiry you could make is, do I feel more sensation in my left hip flexor or in the crease of my right? So one's extending back and the right leg is flexing forward. Then what is the sensation of the pelvic bowl, that thing in the space between both legs? Maybe coming onto your forearms and resting your head on the cushion if that's available to you. Try to keep the right foot flat. If you want to, you can curl your toes under on the left side and take your peace fingers around your big toe, right thumb to the upper outer edge of your left big toe. So that would be kind of at like 11 o'clock. Has the intensity of sensation shifted from the right to the left or vice versa? There's no right answer. We're just kind of inquiring inward, seeing where energy might be static and where it's flowing. Deepening your breath, allowing the length of the inhale to be a little bit longer. Exhale to follow suit. Release your Padangustta grip. Go ahead and pull yourself back and come into a seat with your left knee bent and right leg long. So we're back in our kind of preparatory half saddle configuration. Try to negotiate the left heel to the outside of your hip, right? And again, you're welcome to stay here. Lots of options. Or if you want to, you can begin to lay back. Choice is yours. Once you lay back, close your eyes, but make sure that you're lengthening the belly so you're not just plopping back, but that you're pulling the front body long, maybe even articulating the sternum up towards the ceiling a bit. And again, you want to make sure that if this is too much intensity, either in your IT band, patella tendon, or your knee, that you sit up, okay, supported by your blocks. And then when you're ready, go ahead and lay back. Shani Mudras. release your Shani Mudra. You can wiggle your fingers. You can either root down with the tips of your elbows or plant your hands down and inhale. Press yourself up. You can set your blocks off to the side. Bump the weight over to your right hip. Extend your left leg long. And then you'll scooch your sits bones to the base of your bolster and take your right leg up. Hands come back to your stomach. If you're wondering where your spleen is, it's like right here on the left. Kind of bugly shaped organ. And now our goal is to relax our legs when one is slightly in front of the other in an inverted position. Eyes are closed, chin is tucked in. And keep your hands here, or if you'd like, you can bend your elbows and take your peace fingers, seal them together. And then just place them, pointer finger below the middle, lower part of your eye, just above your cheekbone, and then middle finger at the bottom of your eye socket. Soften the backs of the shoulders against the ground, and then you can just palpate a little bit here. Your eyes in Shanti Drishti are closed altogether. So around the eye you have 3 different points. The inside of the eye you have the UB or the urinary bladder. Below we're working stomach, and then the outer crease of the eye is the start of the gallbladder. Bend your left knee, slide your foot. Once again, heel towards your buttocks. And then go ahead and lift your right leg. Cross your ankle over, arms back down to your sides. Draw the thigh in towards your ribs on an exhale and interlace your fingers behind the back of your thigh, pulling the leg in as comfortably as you can, feeling an opening in the outside of your right hip. Again, keep the tips of your toes soft like feathers. Eyes are shut. And gently release the back of your left thigh. You'll plant your foot down and then go ahead and cross your legs. Eagle leg variation. They drop off to the left side. Take your chin towards your right shoulder. Find your twist. And unravel your legs. And draw your legs up overhead. Make sure you're flat on your sacrum. And legs come up. You can move your ankles and wrists around a little bit, maybe point and flex. And then we'll come back to this leg up the invisible wall pose, Shani Mudras. If you preferred having the peace fingers underneath the center of your eye, of course you're welcome to go back and do that. It's kind of a fun sensation. Eyes are closed, chin slightly tucked in. Lower half of the abdomen hollow. Slowly begin to draw your heels apart. Take your hands to your hips and inhale, rock yourself up. Right hand over left, tuck your chin. So you're creating the shape with your hands, so your nose is going to go right here. We want to keep the spine perfectly vertical. And fold over, soften the tips of the toes towards the front. And your eyes are closed. Inhaling, begin to press yourself up without opening your eyes and just come into a seat. So you're not going to move your legs, you're just staying as you are, but this time your shoulders are stacked over your hips. And plant your hands behind you. Once again, pull your thighs in towards your ribs and come back facing forward on the transversal side of your mat. Crossing your right ankle over your left. Shani Mudras. Coming back to our intention about being safe, secure, happy, and healthy, having everything that we need. Setting the intention all the same for our family and loved ones, friends, our neighbors, our communities, our cities, our states, our country, continent, and then all beings everywhere, without exclusion. We say it enough, we believe it enough, we have an opportunity to change the course of history. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up. And then exhale, take your arms out wide to the side and point your fingertips down, mudra of relaxation. And as you do, you'll shift the weight back and bend your knees, planting both feet forward. Toe heel out your feet a little bit wider than you normally would, and then go ahead and turn your arms. So internal rotation of your shoulders, the palms are going to be facing behind you. And then you'll just go ahead and bring your knuckles to the outside of your ribs. Right, so it's going to create some compression on the stomach. So go ahead and turn your left elbow in, followed by your right. Now, depending on your flexibility, right, you can draw your knees out as wide as possible, but ideally you're going to squeeze everything in, tuck your chin and close your eyes. Point your finger at the base of the thumbnail bed, middle finger to the back of the thumb, and squeeze. Eyes are closed, chin is tucked in, squeeze a little bit more. And inhale, gently release out. Pull the arms forward and down. So now we'll drop our knees to the left. This is not deer pose. What I'd like you to do is try to get the outside of your left ankle to this kind of peroneal part of the outer edge of your calf. You'll anchor your left hand by your left hip and then twist to the left. And if you want to take peace fingers between your big and second toe, thumb to 2 o'clock, you're welcome to do that. Try to soften your right buttock. And gently release, come back to center. And you'll just rock them over to the opposite side. Again, this kind of lateral malleolus bone to the top of the calf. Kickstand off the right fingers, take your twist to the right side. you'd like to take the Padangusta grip around the big toe, you're welcome to do so. With the exhale, anchoring the left sits bone towards the mat. Twist a little bit deeper. Eyes stay closed. And beautiful. Inhale takes you back to center. Draw both legs long. You can kind of move your feet around. You'll take your bolster. So anytime you feel nauseous, this is a really great stomach point to massage, which is just kind of where the tibia ends and the foot begins. Okay, I think it's either your calcaneus or your talus. I don't remember right now, and it kind of doesn't matter, top of your foot. All right, so go ahead and draw forward, caterpillar pose, close your eyes. And this is just to realign the spine after doing twist. Inhale, bring yourself up. And then I just recommend, if there's space, you can always turn to the side again if you need to. But you can just bring your knees over your bolster or your cushion, and you'll lay back for your final relaxation pose, Shavasana. Moving all your props out of the way. If you need to turn sideways, you can, and if you have the blanket and you'd like to use it over your body, you're welcome to do so. At this point, I'd recommend no mudras, but I would find more of a pentagram pose, so your arms are horizontal. Lift your chest, and then pull the scapula bones down a little bit. And chin is tucked in, your eyes are closed, and just allow the body to melt. So you'll naturally frog leg out a little bit. Entire backside of the body supported by the earth. And the breath begins to hint at a more shallow quality. A natural ease. Eyes stay closed. Drawing the totality of your awareness to the cadence of your breath and no other thoughts. And gently begin to move your head side to side, but in a very slow way. Begin to bend your knees and plant your feet and windshield wipe your knees from side to side as well, maybe even pushing the bolster away. You can pause in any particular shape if it feels beneficial. And again, the movements remain unhurried. Awareness stays inwardly focused. And wiggle your fingers a little bit and wiggle your toes. Everything comes back up to center. Hug the thighs in towards the ribs, getting a nice little bit of compression. If it feels good, you can drape your hands over your shins, tuck your chin, and try to take your forehead towards your knees. And then you'll rock yourself up into a seated meditation position. Taking your feet, however feels comfortable for you, and then knowing that if your hips are tight, hopefully they're less tight after practice, you can take your blocks to the outside of your thighs. Turn your palms up. At this point, taking your second finger to the thumb, Jnana Mudra, remaining 3 fingers extended straight and together. And the wisdom seal, the unification of the one with the whole. Stacking shoulders over hips, eyes closed, chin slightly tucked in. We will have a few moments of silence in closing meditation. You can focus on the intention, feeling safe and secure, healthy and happy for yourself, your family and loved ones, your neighbors and those around you, your community, your city, state, our country, continent, and the rest of the world. When you're ready, inhale, circle sweep your arms up. And exhale, arms out wide to the side. Shrug your shoulders a few times, and you can blink your eyes open. Counterclockwise motion. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up. Exhale. Any sense of scarcity or worry that there's not enough, let's just shake that off right now. Coming into a place of power. Right? Bring the hands together, create a little bit of heat. And then just bring your hands right here. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Sending you love, peace, and blessings. If you have any questions about the practice, feel free to put them in the Facebook comments. I'll respond to them right away. Thank you and namaste.